guess we can get rolling. What's up, guys? Justin here, back for another episode of the podcast. And to my right, okay, Chris is apparently not here. Yeah, we're going to go straight to my left then.
What's up? It's Pablo, Jason, whatever you want to call me. Time for round 2 of this. I only got 2 of us, but we'll get through it.
Yeah, we'll make it work somehow. So, big announcement. We have finally came up with a name with the help of some of our fans and the geniuses behind this podcast. We have honorable mentions.
Yeah, well, let's go with some honorable mentions first.
Yeah.
Let's go with, it's not bad. It was in the top half. Crimson Mask. Not bad.
Not bad.
I liked it.
Could be a wrestler.
Yeah. I just imagine JR.
Yeah.
It's a Crimson Mask. Then I know this was one that was on the fence. We started to go.
Yeah.
We got blood, sweat, and beers.
Almost an homage to the great Stone Cold Steve Austin.
This one. You know what? I'm not even gonna say this one's close, but we're gonna tell you about this one because this is what I told y'all not to do last week. All right. Shit stains was never gonna work. All right. It's not happening.
Like, it was a good try, and, like, we appreciate, like, the creative genius that came up with that, but we cannot use shit stains as a podcast title. We cannot brand ourselves under shit stains.
I won't do it. I won't. I have standards.
Yeah.
Standards, damn it. So, with the final announcement here, our name will be...
Till the Count of 5.
Till the Count of 5 podcast will be what we'll go by. And if you don't know what that means, it's an homage to wrestling. And when the referee's trying to tell the bad guy, hey, you need to break the chokehold, get off the ropes, whatever. And usually some idiot fan, which would be us, or the bad guy in the ring will go ahead and tell that referee he has till the count of 5 to break that hold.
Yep, so we've decided on this name. We're gonna brand ourselves under that. Again, thank you to everyone who gave us names. It's not the guy who said shit stains. That was terrible. Why would you do that? You got your 5 seconds of fame.
There you go.
But yeah, we're just gonna move right into this. Obviously, we missed last week, so we didn't get to make our predictions pre-Super Bowl. But now that it's happened, we're gonna talk about the game. We're gonna talk about the aftermath and just dive into this.
So, I mean, if we had done picks, I was going to go with the kind of the upset everybody thought, because everybody was picking the Panthers. They've dominated all season.
I thought they were going to destroy.
I thought it would be close. I kind of figured the defense for Denver would bring them in, but we did have the Denver Broncos upsetting, I guess you could say, because, I mean, basically all the money was on the Panthers, and the final was 24-10.
Yeah.
So... I don't know what you took away from the game, but Denver's defense, don't get me wrong, I like Peyton Manning. And he played just good enough for them to win.
He pulled a Trent Dilfer. More so than Trent Dilfer pulled a Trent Dilfer. He managed the game. He got him a victory. He didn't have to go out of his way. He just did it. Yeah,
and I think Denver defense submitted themselves into the talk of the best 1 year. I won't say it's a franchise type deal.
Yeah.
Yet. Because, I mean, DeMarcus Ware's back.
Still don't know about Von Miller.
Von Miller, they're going to probably franchise him.
Yeah, probably.
So for a year, he's going to be back in Denver. But, I mean, talk about what you saw in the game.
Okay, first of all, that was one of the sloppiest Super Bowl games I've ever seen in my life. Like just from a standpoint of I've never seen that many fumbles. And you got a team like Carolina who they showed the whole week saying, okay, we've got all these different options on offense. Plays where Cam's got 4 options to hand the ball off. And you don't see that the whole game. It's just like he lets the defense do whatever they want and nothing happens the whole game. Peyton did his thing. He maintained the game, didn't let anything get out of control, didn't do anything fancy, did what Peyton does, and the defense carried them to victory. I mean, that's really all you can say.
Yeah, and something I noticed at the first of it, you're watching them do the national anthem, which, by the way, national anthem, let's discuss that real quick before I get back to the game.
That was one of the best national anthems I've ever heard in my life.
We're not Lady Gaga fans at all, okay? No. However, you cannot discount what she did. The best, bar none, I think I've ever heard.
Yeah.
But back to the point, while she's singing and they're doing all the other stuff, And they keep showing pictures of Cam Newton. And my thing was, I'm rooting for Denver, but watching Cam Newton all year, that big smile he always has, and there was no smile. There was no, that team was built to have fun and dab and all this stuff. They seemed tight to me. So I think going into it, they didn't have that swagger they'd had all year. They had the 2 weeks where they had to hear, well, they're going to beat the old Peyton Manning.
And even, you could tell even during the media days, by like the, second to last media day, Cam was tired of it. He was just like, okay, whatever. I've answered everything you guys want to hear. I mean, maybe it's just a young team and they're not used to being in the limelight in that way. But they did not look like they were ready for that game at all.
No. And I will say, the field conditions were terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that field was terrible. Like, I can't believe the Super Bowl was played on a field that was that bad.
Yeah.
Like, when you have players 2 minutes into the game changing cleats because they can't stand up. But with that said, there's no excuse for the right and left tackle for the Carolina Panthers. I don't know that Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware have been blocked yet.
No.
Like, Von Miller, it was like he was in the huddle and knew the snap count every time.
Yeah.
Poor Michael Orr, blindside man. He was literally blindside because he was getting beat all night. And they can make excuses all they want. Von Miller basically lived in the backfield.
I mean, he did what everyone. He imposed his will from the start of the game. And it was like, right there early, they get the fumble, they score. It's like, oh, shit. This is about to go bad. Like, everything's about to change right here, and this is not going to be what we wanted to happen.
Yeah, I think when that happened and it went to 10-0, you could just kind of see the look on Carolina's face like, what just happened? And because, Carolina all season had started off strong in every game, and they'd let people come back and catch it. And that was what everybody was talking about, is Carolina going to jump out to the lead and Denver maybe come back later?
Yeah.
That was going into it, the storyline everybody expected. No, we had Denver jump out to a 10-0 lead.
And just maintained it the whole game.
Yeah, and, it was kind of shocking. I mean, I was happy for Peyton to win. I was happy.
No doubt about that.
Peyton Manning, you can not like him. Whether you like him, you don't like him. You got to respect him for what he's done through his whole career and how he's acted his whole career.
Yep.
I mean, he's always acted with class, always done this. And, for him to – I hope he retires. I will. I hope he retires.
I don't want to. I use this example a lot, but I don't want to see him become Brett Favre and play way too long. I mean, Peyton, he ended on top. Just let it in there.
Right. I mean, I know the rumor. There's some rumors.
LA's looking to pick him up.
Yeah. Houston has looked at it, talked about it, and then LA, the Rams are moving back to LA. They're let's make a big splash for the first couple seasons, draw people in. I just want Peyton to. He won the Super Bowl. It's not going to get any better than this.
No.
It can never. And, Elway's the only other quarterback that's ever won a Super Bowl and then retired. I feel like, Peyton probably, this is the storybook ending for him.
Yeah. There's no doubt about that. And, I think one thing we have to bring up with, Carolina and everything, everyone made such a huge deal out of what Cam did after the game. I don't know why. Yeah, he probably didn't act super professional. But, dude's been in the spotlight this whole season and loses the biggest game of his life in a pretty embarrassing fashion.
Yeah.
You got to be a little upset.
Yeah, I agree with that. There is a point of me because, from, when I coach, because I coached you.
Yeah.
It sucks to have to talk to media. And, I'm sorry, media. I know it's your job to come talk to people, but after you lose a ball game, it sucks to have to talk to anybody. But as an NFL player, the MVP of the league, the storyline for all year, really, with Cam Newton, he probably did need to stay there and talk.
Probably.
Now, you can have some old people and the one that killed me was Bill Romanowski coming out and basically just crucifying Cam. And I'm going, Romanowski is the worst human on the planet. And he's just, telling Cam Newton he's worthless and all this and he's a thug. And I mean, I don't have a huge problem. I think my biggest thing with it was if he left, not just because he was upset. Because, I know he was going to be upset. And he did play terrible.
Yeah.
He played awful.
Yeah.
You can't beat around the bush. He was terrible. But if you listen to the video, you can hear Chris Harrison.
Oh, yeah.
Which is stupid. Let me add that too. Why do you have, it's basically like having a cardboard box with a partition thing separating the losing team from the winning team.
Yeah.
So you have Chris Harris basically talking about how they dominated Cam Newton and all this other stuff, and Cam's got to sit there and hear it and talk. And I'm not going to make an excuse for him. He did need to sit there and take it and just go on with it. But to crucify him like some people have,
there's
is
no
a little
need for
ridiculous.
that. I mean, and I think a lot of that's just stemming from the fact that, of course, a lot of people wanted to see Carolina do well, and they liked that swagger that they've had all season. But a lot of people hated it. They thought it was so bad for football. And I think seeing him lose, and they saw how he reacted, they said, well, that's the Cam we all expect.
Yeah, see, that's the whole, you can say it's old people versus young people. You can throw the race thing in there. It's not a race thing, first off.
No, not at all.
It's not a race thing at all. But the biggest thing with that is, we're younger than, like, my dad doesn't necessarily care for Cam Newton's actions or whatever. Which I understand that, they're straight-laced, you score a touchdown, you act like you've been there, you give the ball to the referee, you go to the sidelines. It's business. Whereas, our younger generation, we got a little swagger.
I mean, I did it the whole time in high school.
One of my favorite players growing up, Deion Sanders. Okay, Deion Sanders he started the whole showboat, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, he's high-stepping into the end zone from the 40-yard line on. And, Michael Irvin, the playmaker, he do some crazy... T.O.
Chad Johnson.
T.O.'s an asshole, okay? He's an asshole. However, when he pulled the Sharpie out of his sock...
That was one of the single greatest things I've ever seen.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Or when he said, get your popcorn ready.
Yeah.
And he dumps popcorn on himself. It's a game, and games are supposed to be fun. I don't have a problem with being fun. Now, if it gets excessive or, if it's just downright degrading.
Or if it takes away from the game, that's one thing. But if they're out there having fun, that's different.
Yeah, see, I have a problem with college and high school football. They don't let them celebrate at all, basically.
Nah, I got flagged for that.
Yeah, I know. I remember. But, what I'm saying? This is a game. And this is a game from the time you're little, you're playing all the way through. And it's supposed to be fun. You've worked hard and you've done this. You ought to let them celebrate. But, back to the point with Cam is, you shouldn't be able... Here's what's happened. He's played great this whole season. Had one of the best seasons ever. Maybe the best season he ever had in his career. And that's not to take anything away from his career. It was just that good of a season.
Yeah.
You talk to anybody now after the Super Bowl and after he did that. And like I said, I don't have a problem with him necessarily doing it. He shouldn't have. But if you ask somebody now, hey, what about Cam Newton this year? It's not going to be, he was great for, those 18 games. No, it's not now. Now it's, I can't believe he did that after the game.
It's one of those things, it's like it doesn't matter how many good things you do, people will always remember the one bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what you're going to come to this season. And he's going to have to, as much as he probably shouldn't have to pay for his past sins or transgressions, he's going to.
Yeah.
This next season, it's every time after a ball game, win or lose, and probably more when they lose, because that was the big thing. Well, he hasn't had to do this after losses this year and all this other stuff. Everybody's going to be looking at him with a microscope going, let's see how he acts after this.
Yep.
I mean, but you have to understand, this is the biggest game he's ever played in. And I know he won a national championship, all that. This is the granddaddy of them all, to steal a wrestling term for WrestleMania. It is.
Yeah.
I mean, the more people watch the Super Bowl than anything all year.
I don't know. I think Cam's got to, I don't know, it's one of those things where Cam's got to be like, okay, I messed up. Next season, granted they do well. Now, if they somehow fall apart, which I really highly doubt, that's a really bad probability.
I don't think, they've got most people back. They're young.
Yeah.
They didn't even have their best receiver. I mean, he's been out all year.
But if they come back next season, and if anything, this is going to make that team hungrier.
Oh, yeah.
And if Cam comes back like that, it's going to be scary.
Yeah, because, I mean, let's not take away. Look, Denver's defense was amazing. But Carolina's defense wasn't far behind what Denver did.
Yeah.
I mean, Carolina's defense, you look at what happened. Other than the first drive of the game, when Denver went down and kicked the field goal, you have the turnover by Cam.
Yep.
Defensive touchdown. Then you have, I don't know what in the world happened on the punt return. It did. That guy played it off great.
Oh, yeah, he did.
When he grabbed it, I thought, okay, well, he fair called it. No, he did not. And
No.
then he takes off. So it made Carolina look like idiots.
Yeah.
But they got Denver down there again, another field goal. I mean, the defense can only be asked to do so much. And with Cam and them not doing anything, I mean, Carolina's defense and with Cam Newton coming back after what he did this year, because I was not high on him until this year. He actually got to where he could throw the ball.
Yeah.
And was more of a leader. And I actually love the dab, not necessarily the dabbing thing, but him giving the football to a kid.
Yeah, that's great. One of the best things that there is.
But see, that should be something you take away from it. Instead, we're talking about a stupid press conference.
Yeah, we're talking about one press conference after losing the Super Bowl.
And, you want to say, well, he was disrespectful. No, hey, look, he went like every quarterback in the league does after a ball game. He went and found Peyton Manning, hugged him, told him congratulations, whatever. Nobody talks about that. Everybody's talking about what happened afterwards. However, I do want to bring something up. Because it's been on social media everywhere. And they can say what they want. But you saw the look on Eli Manning's face, right? God. It was priceless.
I've never seen that picture used so many different ways until after that. I mean, it was like when your brother brings home a better report card and just all this different stuff, man. Like, what was he doing? Like it's like the camera goes up there, everyone's super happy, and Eli's just standing there with this dumb look on his face the whole time.
Yeah, it was like I almost felt sorry for him though. Yeah, because it was like, man, Eli, he had Cooper. Cooper was the older brother, and Cooper got hurt. So then there's Peyton, and who wants to be Peyton Manning's brother?
Yeah.
I mean, really, he comes out and he's just a stud, and you got Eli, and like poor Eli, anyway. Like, he doesn't have the personality necessarily that Peyton and them do. So it was like, he had this one thing. I've got 2 Super Bowls. I'm the chosen child.
He's like, I can always say that I've got more than Peyton.
Yeah, he was the Lord of the Rings of the Manning family. Yeah. And it was like when they scored the last touchdown, you just looked on it, and he had the constipated or I'm about to shit my pants.
Yeah.
Man, I just, my brother just passed me up again. I can't, and you know what? Here's my thing, though. I think Eli Manning will be so desperate to win a championship now just to get one more ahead. Like, he's liable to kill somebody. I know he's a quarterback, but I'm really...
He's going to throw interceptions just to hit people.
Yes, he may do it. But the look on his face was priceless. Like, when they showed it, and Peyton and them can all be like, well, he was just looking at the clock and didn't think the game was over. No. Like, they just know. He was not.
Everyone that saw that knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah. Well, shit. Peyton called me.
Well, boys, back to the drawing board.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the Super Bowl. It wasn't necessarily a great game to watch.
No.
Real quick, something that, during the year I don't ever do, but Super Bowl time I get excited. I don't change the channel. I watch commercials.
Oh, yeah.
Because I hate commercials usually.
Yeah.
But Super Bowl commercials are different.
Yeah.
So, you have any commercials that stood out to you?
The Mountain Dew monkey baby whatever, that was terrifying, bro. Like that was one of the that was scary, and I hated it.
Puppy monkey baby.
Yes,
puppy monkey baby.
It was so terrible, bro.
But here's the thing, like we were talking about this at work the other day. After that, it wasn't necessarily great, and it was something you were just.
But everyone was talking about it.
You looked at it and you went, "What the hell did I just watch?"
Yeah,
but everybody was talking about Puppy Monkey Baby.
Yeah.
Monday. And everybody, like, I remembered, oh, that's Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
They're no drink thing. Hey, it worked.
That was good. Car commercials and beer commercials did better than anything. The Jeep commercial was phenomenal. Loved it. Not just because I'm a Jeep driver. It was just a good commercial in general. And I think it was a Budweiser commercial. It was one of the drinking and driving ones with the
older lady?
Yeah, that man, was so good.
It was like, you shouldn't drink and drive anyway. There's a public service announcement from us. Don't drink and drive. Listen to us. However, that commercial was awesome.
It was.
I'll tell you one I really liked is there was 2 really that, like, I mean, I love the ones you named.
Yeah.
The Doritos commercial where the woman's pregnant.
Yeah.
And he's taunting the baby, and all of a sudden she grabs, would you give me that? And she throws it, and then the baby just like pushes it out, and they're all looking at each other. I did. I laughed really hard at that one. I also love the dogs.
Yes.
The dogs.
That killed me. I almost forgot about that.
The dogs all dressing up like the guy. That was a good one. But yeah, the car commercials were good.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, the car commercials dominated, and that's, like, not a really typical thing. Like, you always expect, like, the Budweiser horses and stuff like that to do well. Doritos always has some really good commercials.
Doritos is good.
But, yeah, car commercials for me, like, dominated easily.
Yeah, I mean, like, if I could afford one, like, I didn't like them before, but after seeing the Honda Ridgelines, the new trucks that came out, like, I so want one.
I think those
it's got a sound system in the back.
Yeah, which makes like, why would you ever need that?
I don't need it, but
you want
but I see it, so I want it.
Yeah,
now. Like, I want. Who doesn't want a speaker in the back of their truck? Like, not, we're down here. Look, if you got speakers in the back of your truck, what that means is you either wire the speaker yourself or you turns your radio up so loud everybody can hear it.
Exactly.
I mean, nobody has speakers in the back.
Yeah.
So that kind of wraps up the Super Bowl talk.
Yeah.
I mean.
Also, side note, the halftime show was terrible, and you can hate me all you want. I don't care.
Like, here's the thing. Like, I actually, of the halftime show, I didn't mind Bruno Mars. I don't mind Bruno Mars to a point. I don't like
him.
But Bruno Mars I thought was okay. First off, the fact that his posse, whatever you want to call him, was dressed up like Blackstreet from back in the day.
Yeah.
With the No Diggity or whatever.
Yeah.
I'll give Bruno Mars a little credit. Coldplay, but from the beginning, everybody knew when they announced Coldplay was going to be the halftime show. Coldplay is not a halftime band for the Super Bowl.
Well, see, Dad and I were talking about this. Apparently, at the Super Bowl, I didn't know this. You're required to lip sync because that way they don't have any mess ups at all.
Really?
Yeah, and I was talking to him about it because Metallica played the night before, and because there was a huge ballot, Metallica in the Super Bowl, but that wouldn't have worked anyway because, like, if you have a live band like that and it's lip sync, it's obviously going to be that much different. So a band like Coldplay can't do as well. Whereas if you've got some, big performer like Beyonce or Bruno Mars, wherever, it works a lot better for them because they're dancing, there's a stage show, all that stuff. But yeah, apparently you have to lip sync. That's like a thing for.
Wow.
I'm assuming some kind of censorship. That way they don't mess anything up. You don't have another Janet Jackson incident.
I was gonna say this.
Yeah.
This is the boob incident.
Yeah. Pretty much that.
After hearing that, it makes a little more sense, but the whole thing still is Coldplay should never have been a choice.
No.
Period.
No.
And then what happened was, because you could tell too, it was forced really bad, that they chose Coldplay, and then everybody bitched about Coldplay.
Yeah.
To the point where they're like, you know what? Hey, let's just randomly throw in Beyonce. And you know what? Everybody liked that guy we had last year. The year before with Bruno Mars, hey, you know what? Let's bring that guy back.
And the thing about it was, whoever booked it, once they realized Coldplay wasn't going to work, it basically just became let's embarrass Coldplay. Because Coldplay can't keep up, as much as you like that kind of music, they can't keep up with, the antics of Beyonce and Bruno Mars. And I'm not talking about, like, their stage show. That's cool, whatever. But, like, just from a performer standpoint, I didn't like the artist at all.
No, it was not one of the better ones. Which I wish they'd get somebody better for next year, but with the track record they have, I'm doubting it.
No, it's not going to go well. I guess we should probably move on to some wrestling talk.
Yeah, we're going to talk about. We're going to preview, even though this could be on afterwards. We're going to talk about the NWA Smoky Mountain show tomorrow that we told you about a couple weeks ago. They're going to have one of their bigger shows, Encore, tomorrow night at 7:30 at the Civic Auditorium. It's another pretty stacked card for the most part. I know you got a 6-man tag where you got the Hardliners and Onslaught, Chaos as they're known. They're going to take on kind of a weird combination, I guess. But they've all got problems with Chaos. So you got Wild Bill and the Heat Seekers. Should be a pretty decent match. The Heat Seekers and Hardliners have had some pretty good matches here lately back and forth. It's been pretty good. The big storyline, the Heat Seekers took out James Judas Pope at the last show. So that's kind of caused the big uproar between Chaos and the Heat Seekers. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Chaos with no manager at the ringside.
I mean, you got to think a lot of their tactics and a lot of their whole distraction, bringing all the illegal stuff into the ring, that's probably not going to happen.
No, and if by chance you do come tomorrow night, I would be expected to maybe see some toilet paper for Mr. Conley. If you've not seen it, best entrance in NWA Smoky Mountain. Not even for necessarily the music or whatever, but if you know anything about Ring of Honor and Jimmy Rave, back when they used to throw the toilet paper at him, same kind of deal at NWA Smoky Mountain, and it's just fun for everybody. I love it. So, yeah, if you hear this or if you're going to come to a future show and Jeff Conley is on there to be there, bring you some toilet paper and let's go TPing, man.
Yeah.
So, another match, it's kind of a return match. It is from the last show. It's the TV title match between Jordan Cage, the champion, versus Axton Ray. And instead of the normal TV time limit of 10 minutes, they're going to go 15 minutes this time.
Which is going to be crazy.
Yeah, definitely two of the guys who like more up-tempo style.
Yeah.
It will probably be one of the... I mean, I don't know. I want to say one of the better matches, but once we get through the rest of the cards, you're going to be like, wow, they're all going to be good matches for the most part. But, Axton Ray come close to beating him last time. Jordan Cage kind of suckered him in and shook his hand afterwards and then gave him his hangman pile driver that he does, which is illegal in NWA Smoky Mountain. You cannot do a pile driver.
Which we still want to get changed.
Yeah, we still want to get changed. Tony's done told me no because it's such a dangerous move. But if Dylan Sizemore becomes president of the NWA, which we're going to talk about in a minute,
platform.
This is going to be what gets him there because we want the pile driver reinstated to NWA Smoky Mountain. I love you, Tony, but come on, man.
Let's make wrestling great again, Tony.
Yeah, let's make wrestling great again. But another match, and this match has the chance to be like that match and maybe steal the show too because both these guys, we talked about Skylar Cruz at the last show.
Yeah.
Skylar Cruz is really good. Young guy. And he's getting there. I really liked he had some new attire, new music.
Looked great.
It did.
Yeah.
Like the music and the attire. I really like it. He's going to take on a guy who has been around for a while and has actually, he's competed with TNA and a lot of other places this year. Mr. Everybody Knows, Sean Effin Schultz. Now, his name's really Sean Schultz, but when we go to a show, he is Sean Effin Schultz, and we will chant it and have signs just because that's how we roll.
Yeah. I think that's going to be one of those matches that, again, potentially can steal the show. But again, like this event's so packed, you don't know who's going to top each other. No. I mean, it's going to be a free-for-all on who's going to have the better match.
Both those two matches, the TV title match and that match, because, they're further down the card, going by the thing. In a lot of places, independent promotions like NWA Smoky Mountain, those are main event matches.
Yeah.
But then you go on from there. We got the U.S. tag team titles. The NWA United States tag team titles are on the line with the Giants of Gehenna, the two monsters from the Cabal. Yeah. I mean, Travis Lee and Chris Richards, both 6'5 plus, 6'6 plus, 300,
just massive
300 pounds plus champions who, I don't know that anybody really, really wants to get in the ring with them because they can just dominate.
Yeah, and if they do, I mean, they got to pull some kind of crazy tactics. You got to try to get them on the ground. You got to do all this stuff. Like, you have to pull out every bell and whistle just to even get these guys on the ground.
Well, and you have the always dangerous Sarah Docs on the outside managing with them. And she's very willing to put her nose in business.
Oh, yeah.
Which these two guys are going to face in Ali Shabazz and the notorious Nick Hammonds are no strangers to that.
Oh, no.
Nick has frequently for the last few months been, whatever you want to say, screwed out of the title, took advantage of, whatever, he kind of has felt the brunt of the Cabal, the newly formed group, the Cabal. But this is a chance with Nick Hammonds and the human action figure, Ali Shabazz, who, if you've not seen, they call him the human action figure for a reason. He looks like an action figure.
This dude makes me want to work out, and then I think about it for a second. It's like, damn, I'm never ever going to look even where close to that good, so I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to sit here, drink a Mountain Dew, eat a Hot Pocket, and just watch this event.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He's a creator wrestler on there. You put all the muscles up, and he's like all shredded and ripped. And then the guy's athletic as can be, and he's a former military guy. But with those two, this is a combination. They haven't been together before, Ali Shabazz and Nick Hammonds. But, both of them have been champions and Nick's been a tag team champion on multiple occasions in NWA Smoky Mountain, they could maybe pull off the shocker and upset the Giants.
I mean, I think it's definitely possible. I mean, you got to think if the Giants are going to do anything, it's probably going to come from something illegal. Probably going to be some kind of some dirty tactics. I mean, because they're not going to give that up without a fight.
Oh, no. For Nick and them to beat them, they're going to have to not only beat the Giants, which is a tall task that's probably almost insurmountable anyway.
Yeah.
But you have the outside interference. You never know where Jason Kincaid may show up. Who knows? The ball could add another member.
Yeah.
I mean, anything could happen with that one. So then we move on. We got 3 matches that, we've talked good about all these other matches, and they're all great. Like, I can't wait for those matches. We have 3 matches that, bar none, anywhere in the country, independent promotion, not WWE, Ring of Honor, whatever, these 3 matches could be any main event in whatever you want to do.
Yep.
I mean, that's just straight up how it is. We got John Skyler from, he usually wrestles down in PWX, North Carolina. He was just on NXT. He is the Southern Savior. John Skyler is going to take on our boy, Bullet Club, Crown Jewel, Too Sweet Me, Chase Owens, who 3-time NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion, basically has won just about every title in NWA Smoky Mountain. Holds all kinds of titles everywhere. Twin States, I know he just won it in a tournament here recently. Chase can flat out go. Been in New Japan, all this other stuff. So to have John Skyler, NXT guy, big name, Southern Savior guy, and Chase Owens, who, 2 of the hotter names on the independent circuit, going to take on each other. And it's not even the quote-unquote main event for this card.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're coming, it's that one right there is worth the price of admission. And like we said, that one has a chance to still show, which I honestly think it may. But then you move on, and this one's still not even the main event. It is the Southeastern champion, Jason Kincaid, for 4 years and running, going to defend his title against the man who pinned him at the last show.
Yep.
Vince Bryant.
And if this is anything like the last show, this is just going to be a violent match. I mean, there's a grudge there, and just seeing what Jason did last show, this is going to be crazy.
Well, it goes back to, Jason hasn't been pinned probably in 2 years in the Kingsport Civic Auditorium, and, Vince pulled off an amazing move.
Yeah.
He jumps on the giant Travis Lee's back, who had Nick Hammond's on it.
Yep.
Turns around and flips and does a moonsault. Great move. Pulls the upset. Shocking enough, well then after the match, the Giants grab him and they proceed to do the double stomp onto him from the top rope from Jason while they hold him. I don't know, it was probably 5 times.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty brutal.
I mean, they had to carry Vince out.
Yeah, and so I think going into this one, there's some bad blood, obviously. How much has Vince recovered from that one? And, it just goes back to the point. Jason Kincaid has been the man for going on over 4 years. We're working on our 5th year. Look, you can say it now. Maybe he's doing some underhanded tactics, and he's using a light bulb and all this other stuff. Look, the man can go. And he's that good.
Yeah, he didn't start out doing this stuff.
No, he doesn't
have
to do these things to keep the title. But the fact that he's willing to do those things now makes him that much more dangerous.
Yep.
And it's going to take a tall order for Vince to beat him. We'll see what happens. Obviously, the crowd's going to be behind Vince. He's the fan favorite. But can Vince win the big one, which he's kind of failed to do so far? I don't know. We'll wait and see. Until proven wrong in that one, Jason Kincaid, I'm picking him.
Yeah.
But, maybe Vince is the guy, the kryptonite to Superman.
The bearded Superman.
The bearded West Virginia Superman, Jason Kincaid, leader of the Cabal.
Now we have to go into work.
Look, that's not even the main event.
We ain't even done yet.
Like, you don't even hear infomercials that sound this damn good, all right? You have not just, we're talking this match, they will hit each other so hard, there may be an earthquake registered on the scales in the state of Tennessee tomorrow night.
Yeah.
The NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Godzilla Jax Dane, is coming to defend his title against Mr. Fighting Spirit, Toby Farley.
I don't even know. Has Toby's head recovered yet?
I don't know, but I don't think he cares.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I don't think he cares. I think Jax may have to kill him to beat him.
Yeah, he really might.
And you still have, Toby Farley's got Dylan Sizemore on the outside. Hey, Dylan is very dangerous. Like, everybody wants to boo him, hey, whatever. If Dylan gets the chance, he'll distract somebody, whatever.
I mean, he's a winner. He's going to try to win any way
he manages winners. That's what he does.
Yeah.
But the fact that you have Toby Farley and Jax Dane, a massive, massive man, strong, I mean, muscles on top of muscles. What you picture when you hear a man named Godzilla versus Mr. Fighting Spirit, Toby Farley, who is great in his own right.
Yeah. No question about that. And it's one of those things where, like, we watched him last event, which we talked about in the previous podcast, and not going to go into too much detail on that. But, he put on a hell of a show.
Oh, yeah.
And really and truly, the card wasn't that great set up for him, but they did a hell of a job.
Yeah. It was that match, when the match was over, they got a standing ovation for that match. But my bigger thing that I took away from that, Toby, who has, resorted to some bad tactics, got Dylan Wayne Sizemore as manager, that entire building was chanting Toby.
Yeah.
After that match. So I think it's going to be weird tomorrow night, whereas Jax Dane has kind of always been a fan favorite there. What's he going to be tomorrow night when you got everybody's kind of getting behind Toby?
And it's, after seeing the performance he put on, people are, finally gravitating to him saying, wow, this guy can go.
Like, it's not even the principal fact that people personally like Toby Farley, because he is aligned with Dylan Sizemore, and they do some underhanded things.
Yeah.
He has earned their respect to the point that everybody was chanting Toby's name at the end of that show the other night. So, what is Jax Dane going to do when he walks into a place where he's always been cheered, and maybe he's it's not so pro Jax Dane tomorrow night.
Yeah.
But anyway, that card right there, we just named all those matches. Trust me, if you can get there tomorrow night, you need to get there. Justin's actually not going to be able to make tomorrow night. I will be there. Signs, everything and all. And we will have a report on what all went down come next week. But yeah, if you got nothing to do tomorrow night, or if your girlfriend is willing to let you go to a wrestling show the day before Valentine's Day, you go to the wrestling show.
Yeah, make a point to do that.
Yeah, make a point to go and do this. So we're going to go see the show, right? Period. Don't question us. All right. Now, we're going to talk about some more wrestling stuff because we actually weren't going to talk much wrestling this week, and we really didn't have a choice because there was some big wrestling news that kind of broke Monday morning on Twitter, which everybody kind of knew the Daniel Bryan situation, that he'd been trying to come back and he couldn't. Like, he would get released by some other doctors, but the WWE doctors wouldn't let him. And I understand they don't want to be liable for stuff. But I never could figure out why WWE's doctors didn't want to let him come back. Now, after hearing some other things, and Daniel Bryan, if you watched Monday Night Raw, he come out and kind of said, look, I kept getting released from all these doctors, and I kept thinking I was training, I was ready to come back. He said, but then I had a test last week that maybe my brain wasn't as okay as I thought it was. And, a part of me selfishly, I'd love to see Daniel Bryan fight again because he was. I mean, he was great.
Yeah.
He was amazing in the ring. I don't know that there's anybody ever been as good technically as he is. Even Kurt Angle come out and said he puts him up there with Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
And he dropped the Chris Benoit, Chris Benoit dead to the world because WWE they act like he never existed.
And that's for another time. We'll
discuss that one another time. But, it's the whole point that if Angle and some other people are willing to put you in that category as a technician and as a wrestler, as those guys, and he's only like 34 years old and he's having to retire, I mean, it was heartbreaking, but at the same time, you look at, for 16 years, what he did in those 16 years from 18 to 34, it was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, just seeing the climb that he made and just the way he made a name for himself, easily one of the best ones to come out of this era. Especially.
Yeah, my favorite thing was he started the show, or started his speech the other night, and obviously everybody was going nuts, chanting yes, Daniel Bryan, and he made the statement. He said, "You all doing that." He got to feel that, and he said that was so much more than a 5'9", 180-pound guy should ever get in this industry. And to watch him, obviously it was tearing him up inside. He doesn't want to retire, but he's got a wife now. They want to have a family. He talked on ESPN. He had an interview with Jonathan Coachman, the coach from WWE back in the day. He was to the point where he'd had so many concussions, he was having seizures. And after hearing everything, and like, you can't blame him at all. Like, I was usually really down on WWE for not releasing him. I thought they were selfishly doing it. Now I guess if you look at it, it's kind of a good thing they did.
Yeah, it makes sense, and it's one of those things. It kind of goes back to something we kind of talk about a lot here. Is people say this isn't a sport and it's all entertainment, but these guys have injuries, and you have things that happen like this that are, they're devastating. I mean, you got a 34-year-old guy who's had so many concussions that he literally can't do the one thing that he's done his whole life anymore.
Yeah, and I mean, and talking about the injuries, I mean, we had Edge. Edge is the same way.
Yeah,
cut down early. Stone Cold even to a point. I mean, he was a little older, but Stone Cold still had some miles left on him. And same deal, neck, back stuff. But so it's kind of been. I understand WWE being more cautious now. Before, I was really against it. I thought they were just,
almost trying to keep him from going out somewhere else.
And that's the way it felt a little bit. That we don't, because Daniel Bryan had come out and he had asked for his release, and it was WWE wasn't going to release him, and I was kind of, man, that's awful. I mean, I understand it's about money.
Yeah.
End of the day, it's about money. But, a man ought to be able to go and do what he loves. I know there's contracts and litigation and all that stuff, but, but then after hearing everything and...
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense.
It makes a lot of sense. And I think, it's going to be hard for him for a long time, but eventually he'll maybe get some peace. It was awesome. He got to do the retirement thing Monday night in his hometown of Seattle. It was great. And, if you can take one thing away from it, it was he wanted you to know how grateful he was for what he got to do and for the years he got to do this and on the road. And if you have ever watched like some of the stuff, like there's a documentary and I can't remember the name of it right now. It's something like Roadside something. Anyway, it followed him and like Colt Cabana and some people. Yep. It was awesome movie. But if you just see from where he came to where he's now, and he stayed like the most humble guy in the world. Like,
easily.
He's just the nicest guy. Like, you just talk to him and he's like, he's just a really good guy. And I love the fact that they throw in there that he's a vegan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, obviously I'm not, but the fact that he's like, we had a vegan world heavyweight champion.
And the fact that he didn't have to tell everyone, that made it that much better.
Yeah. The fact that he's just like, yeah, that's me. And, the fact he's the 5'9", 180-pound guy who at one point everybody said looked like a goat.
Yeah.
And he married Brie Bella.
Which is... Just props to him for that.
Yeah, look, if you can say what you want, you don't even have to like him as a wrestler, but by God, you better respect the fact that he hooked up with Brie Bella and got her to marry him.
The man is winning. All things aside, the man won in that degree.
Yeah. Oh, and also, let me throw this in there on the retirement speech. The fact that they kept chanting yes, and he finally said, that's what Brie says all night.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest thing ever, because everybody was dying. That was awesome and it was great for the moment because I think it's what he wanted. He wanted everybody to know, not necessarily be sad because everybody was sad.
Yeah,
but he wanted everybody to know how grateful he was and kept it kind of lighthearted. I really liked it, and the fact that all the wrestlers came out on the stage, the showing off. If you watch, you had to switch it to W Network to see the exclusive coverage. The fact that everybody, like every wrestler, just about on the roster, was on stage, both fingers pointing up to the sky, going up and down, chanting yes with everybody else. And he's going over there and hugging his mom and stuff. It just showed what kind of guy Daniel Bryan was and how much respect he had from everybody.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell just from seeing all that. He was one of the guys in the locker room that everyone said, okay, this guy's the real deal.
Yeah, I think he was the guy that, everybody could look at and go, look, You can say what you want, 5'9", 180 pounds. That guy's going to carry his load every night, in the ring, outside the ring, and just a good guy all the way down to the court. But yeah, so, best wishes to Daniel Bryan and whatever he does. He's going to be successful in anything he does. Obviously, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see what he does from here on out, because it's going to be hard to transition from 16 years of being a pro wrestler to what am I going to do today, tomorrow.
Maybe he does something like Mick Foley did.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he's got the personality to where he could probably entertain people in that way, if that's the route he chooses. If not, best luck to whatever he does.
Yeah, and then, Bree's still in the WWE, so obviously he's going to have some attachment to it.
Yeah.
But, best of luck to them. Hopefully, pretty soon they got a kid or something, because I know they're looking forward to that. Even though he's a Seahawks fan, we still like him.
Yeah.
So we'll let that one slide. If you are that good, then you get a reprieve. But,
talking about all the wrestlers with, standing out there, I had a little bit of controversy.
Yeah, you didn't know about this till before we were going to talk about this, and I thought you might have known. And some of y'all may not know, which I don't know how close everybody follows it. Titus O'Neil, who he's a former Florida Gator football player, has really got a big push here lately. He had been undefeated for 4 or 5 months up until the other night. Guy who's really stepped his game up, was part of a tag team with Darren Young, and you could kind of tell he was a whole lot better than Darren Young was.
Kind of helped carry the load here, especially with some of the injuries and all the other things.
And he was a guy you could look forward to. And behind probably John Cena, he does more work in the communities and stuff more than anybody other than probably Cena. I mean, he was their charity guy, the Make-A-Wish guy. He does a lot of work with homeless people and stuff like that. I don't know if you don't know, we'll tell you. Apparently, whenever Daniel Bryan was doing his little thing and he was doing the yes thing and everybody was on stage, finally Daniel Bryan and Brie are going to go to the back, and so they come up on stage, and Triple H and Stephanie and Vince are all out there right in the middle, and then all the wrestlers are there. So Daniel Bryan hugs Vince, Brie and them are hugging Vince and Stephanie and stuff. So Daniel and Brie walk to the back. Obviously, kind of parts for them to walk to the back. And obviously, Vince, Triple H, and Stephanie are going to be the next ones to go. I don't know the exact reason. I mean, we can speculate kind of what we think it is because, Titus is a good guy. Titus O'Neil grabbed Vince's arm when Vince started walking towards the backstage area. And from what I've heard, I think it was more he pulled his arm to let Stephanie go first because, hey, gentlemen, let's the lady go first. I know Vince, it's debatable whether he's a gentleman.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, he just, and it's not even, I won't even say grab.
No, grab's probably a strong word. He's probably just putting his arm in front of him almost.
Yeah, I mean, he touched his arm, but it wasn't necessarily like he jerked him back or anything like that. So, Vincent Kennedy McMahon proceeded to, I think, overreact on just this part, not getting to what else come from it, but he basically pushes Titus O'Neil, and you could tell he was a little pissed off, and I mean, you say what you want. I mean, I know he's the boss and all this other stuff, but he's trying to make an example of Titus O'Neil. So long story short, he pushes him, and like we said, all he did was really put his hand on his arm.
Nothing malicious about it.
No, you can go find it on YouTube. It's not like it's nothing really. But Vince kind of reacts, pushes him, and when it starts off Tuesday, I think it was Tuesday after Raw, Titus O'Neil was suspended for 90 days.
And again, that's not a typo. That's not us hearing it wrong. 90 days, 3 months of suspension for touching a man's arm.
A quarter of the year. And the rumors on the internet, you believe half of what you read, I guess. But a lot of times they're right with wrestling. Is he wanted to make an example because he felt like some people were acting unprofessional lately, and he wanted to make an example out of Titus O'Neil. And I understand to a point he's trying to rein in maybe, like sometimes you got to make the kid's mind.
Yeah.
But to do it over this,
And especially to a guy who's been keeping you up off the ground lately.
Yeah. Titus O'Neil, he's that guy who is really close to being able to make the next step. And he's a bigger guy who has actually gotten a whole lot better in the ring. I will say this. I reckon the public outcry was enough to sway them a little to where now they have decreased the suspension to 60 days, which is still 2 months. And it makes him miss WrestleMania. He was probably going to be part of the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
Yep.
Which, they're cheating him out of a big payday. Because obviously WrestleMania is going to be the bigger paydays. If you're on the show, you're going to get a bigger payday. Now he's missing it all because, Vince wanted to make an example of Titus O'Neil who, probably shouldn't have tried to correct the boss on manners.
But at the same time, this is Vince being, in a way, a dick. I mean, that's what it boils down to, especially for me. And at times I'm probably too big of a critic of the WWE or Vince, whatever you want to say, but this is too much. Easily too much.
Yeah, I mean, there's a point where there's making an example of somebody and then going overboard or overkill, and I think this is it. I mean, Titus O'Neil maybe should have been smart enough not to mess with Vince because, Vince is holier than thou. But at the same time, I mean, to take away 2 months, at the time 3 months of a guy's career who, like we said, you look with Daniel Bryan, Edge and all these guys. A lot of times these are careers. They aren't like, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, and Sting. These guys are the exceptions to the rule. They're not. Not everybody has a 20-plus year career in this ring, and you're going to cheat them out of WrestleMania already this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was something. You all feel like you want. Yeah, you can comment, tell us what you think about the whole situation. I think it's stupid that he suspended him for that long. But Vince is the boss at the end of the day. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do to Vince, really and truly?
Yeah, I mean, really. And talking about, the injuries for wrestlers, this one kind of goes along with it. And this is, going to another subject. But somebody we talked about last show, who we're all fans of, CM Punk, who had just set up his fight. He was going to fight Mickey Gale.
Yep.
Mickey Gale had won his fight on the UFC Fight Night the other night. They even had CM Punk get in the ring with him, square off like they're going to fight, and they were supposed to fight, I think, maybe somewhere in there. So then it comes out on Wednesday, I think it was, CM Punk has a herniated disc and is going to require back surgery and miss. His projected thing will be 4 to 6 months. I think he's having the surgery, he may have already had it or he's having it this week.
Yeah, it's real close.
So he does still plan on fighting before the end of the year, but there is, it's put a delay again on his debut in the UFC, and that's caused some...
And again, this, you've got people coming up with, Dana White signing people before they even know how to fight, and yada, yada, yada. I mean, these things happen. CM Punk's not the first person to have an injury like this and have to delay a fight. Yeah, that's nothing new.
Change real quick. I don't know if to interrupt you, but... We just had the two heavyweights that were going to fight for the title, Verdum and Cain Velasquez, both pull out of the main event, and it made their pay-per-view go to just a Fox Sports 1 show.
Yeah.
It's not even on pay-per-view now, but you never know how you say anything about that. Look, I understand CM Punk's not proven anything in the UFC. You're right, he hasn't. He was signed because he was a good athlete. He'd been doing some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu stuff. And look, I know you MMA purists hate this. Sorry. But once again, it's about money. CM Punk's going to sell merchandise, and he's going to sell the fight on pay-per-view, okay? It's not even going to be the main event when he fights, but that will get as much publicity as whatever the main event is on that night.
Yep. And the only exception would be if, McGregor's fighting. But I'm really doubting that's all going to be on the same
Or you throw him in there with maybe the rematch if Holly Holm beats Mr. Tate,
But either way, CM Punk's going to draw on his own.
Yeah, and for people to come out and Matt Brown say he's not a UFC fighter, this proves it, and all this other stuff. Okay, you know what? He may not be. I mean, truth. He may suck.
Yeah, he may do terrible, but at least give him a chance before you start dropping all this bullshit on him.
Yeah, you can't just this guy's hurt and he's not paid his dues, and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get pissed off. The guy's hurt. He's hurt. He talked about, he'd been trying to do everything he could for a month to try and get his back to quit hurting. He thought it was just, from wrestling and stuff. And then he goes to the doctor and he's got a herniated disc. Like him or not, I mean, you gotta give a guy a break. Like, if you have a herniated disc, you go try and fight in an octagon, especially UFC. I mean, you're right. He's not proving anything, but before he can prove anything, he needs to be healthy and get in the ring to prove that he can do it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand what people expected that, okay, he's got a herniated disc. Well, if he goes in the ring now, that's going to prove it to me. Like, no, let the guy get healthy. Be smart.
Right. And so, hopefully CM Punk gets over his back surgery. Definitely want to see him before the end of the year. I know it might be rushing him a little bit.
Yeah.
But I do think he needs to fight before the end of the year. I don't know if it'll be Mickey Gale again. That's a long time off for him to have to wait. But it's just kind of wait and see, and hopefully CM Punk gets back pretty quick.
Hopefully.
So
I guess we should stick with the UFC and go right into John Bones Jones.
That's it, boys. Bones Jones making some news. Okay, last show, I said I didn't think it was going to happen. I was wrong. Go ahead. You can tell me I was wrong. But on April 23rd, UFC 197 from Las Vegas, Bones Jones will make his return to the UFC. And the part I was wrong on, he will face Daniel Cormier for the light heavyweight championship in his first match back. Give me your thoughts.
Okay, first of all, we looked at pictures from workouts and everything. If you just went from like an appearance standpoint, John Bones Jones is ripped now. Like this dude has muscles on muscles. Like that alone, he might just beat the shit out of Daniel Cormier on that. But I mean, looking at everything John Bones Jones has went through, and this kind of road to redemption in a sense, this guy's hungry, and he's been hungry, and he's been waiting and waiting to get a shot at this again, and he's not going to mess it up twice. I guarantee that.
And the thing too is, it's against a guy who they don't like each other.
Yeah.
Like, it was personal before. Cormier says he has a new strategy now. And Cormier, you know what? Cormier could beat him. Bones Jones hasn't fought in like, a year and a half, 2 years, going on 2 years now, whatever. But, if you look, and I know training is different than actually fighting. So there could be the rust factor and all that. Let's wait and see what happens. It's been so and so long. If you look at him training and the way he looks now, he was kicking everybody's ass before and didn't have muscles. It wasn't that he was fat or nothing. I mean, he was in shape, but he wouldn't,
He was just a really lanky dude.
If you go look at pictures of him now, like, he's got muscles.
Yeah.
And, he was kicking everybody's ass without muscles. Now he's got muscles.
So what's going to happen?
Daniel Cormier... I don't like Cormier. Obviously, I like Bones Jones. Cormier's he's a great UFC fighter. I think he may bite off more than he can chew, and he should have let Bones Jones have like another match back. But I understand, big payday. Dana's gonna rack up. Bones Jones making his return, and he's gonna get Daniel Cormier first match back. Wait and see. Bones Jones first match back and he gets the title back. What are you going to do to him next?
That's the thing. That'll be the big one. I mean, if John Bones Jones, wins this match, I mean, really and truly, what happens? Who's going to be the one that steps up?
Gustafson, before everything happened, was supposed to have been the guy because, if you watch the Gustafson fight, obviously I'm looking through Bones Jones' glasses. That fight could have went either way.
Probably.
Like, legitimately, that was a great fight. That, I won't argue with you if you say Gustafson won the fight, but you shouldn't be able to argue me that Bones Jones won the fight either. I don't know who you go to next because he's lost a couple matches since then.
Mm-hmm. 2 years is a long time.
But Anthony Johnson, somebody who everybody thought, well, this is the new guy. Daniel Cormier beats him pretty quickly.
Yeah, pretty
easily.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting. Of course, another big thing, you got Connor's fight coming up. Rafael dos Anjos, who, he's kind of starting. He started. I think Connor's in his head, so he started talking shit back to Connor.
Yeah, Connor's got this right where he wants it, like he always does.
Look, and Connor could lose. Because, this is a whole new thing. He's went up divisions. Anderson Silva has made the statement he needs to be careful about talking shit about Brazilians because it's what happened to Chelsea. And first off, and don't get me wrong, I love to listen to Chelsea and talk. If you've never heard him talk, sometimes he'll be on the Jim Rome show. It's awesome. Because he can spit shit like nobody's business, boys. But
he can't back it up either.
Not always can he back it up. There's a big difference between chill sunning, talking shit, and semi sometimes can back it up for 4 rounds and 5 minutes almost. Yeah. Conor McGregor, he'll talk shit and knock your ass out in 12 seconds.
And he'll tell you that.
Yeah, and Dana White, who I think he's kind of playing it up a little bit. Dana White said he just doesn't see how Conor can win against Dos Anjos. I think that's more. Dana doesn't want to. Dana is praying to God that Conor wins. Yeah. Let's just be real. He wants Conor to be the first 2-division champion in the history of UFC.
Yep.
So that's the UFC stuff coming up. Wait and see. Check the pay-per-views out. You can't get the pay-per-view, go to Hooters, Buffalo Wild Wings, somewhere. They will have it.
Yeah. Find somewhere to go. Go see it.
But, yeah, check out the UFC stuff. That's some big stuff coming up.
And for you few basketball fans, I know everyone's not a fan of the NBA, but we've got the All-Star game this weekend. And we kind of
which is better than the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
I still want to add that.
Anything is better than the Pro Bowl.
Let's discuss that real quick. The Pro Bowl sucked. That's all we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
The Pro Bowl's done. We're never talking about it again.
Pro Bowl's done. We're not
doing
that
even
anymore.
Next year. The hell with the Pro Bowl. It's not happening.
Yeah. So NBA All-Star Game, we kind of did our own little ranking just from an article we saw on players.
Yeah, they had an article where the 24 All-Star guys that made the East and West All-Star teams, they ranked them from best to worst of the 24. Our list was a little different than theirs. I don't know if anybody cares what we think, but we kind of feel like the top 5 are pretty well set. Even on their list and our list, it was the same. So I'll go through 1 through 5 real quick, and then I'll let you elaborate some more on some of the other ones. Obviously, Stephen Curry, he's the hands down unanimous pick, number 1 player. Changing the game, can shoot like I don't know that anybody's ever done,
and will continue to do that.
Yes, and the fact is, like, if they make the half court shot worth 4 points, I feel like he's gonna make like 6 out of 10 every game, because that's the kind of range he has. It's phenomenal to watch him play, and that's me not even being a fan of Golden State. Number 2, obviously the King, LeBron James. Dude, he's just a physical specimen.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, that's just all. You can say what you want. Greatest player, probably not, but the biggest freak athlete.
Easily,
probably that. 6'8", 250, and runs like a gazelle and jumps like he does. It's crazy. Kevin Durant, number 3.
The Slim Reaper.
Oh, my Lord. Man, to be 6'11", you're talking about a guy that's almost 7 foot tall and can shoot and dribble the way he does. He's a killer. His teammate comes in at number 4, Russell Westbrook, who, the big debate, where are they going to be next year? But let's get through this year first. Westbrook, man, same deal. He can take over a game.
Yeah.
And then number 5, Kawhi Leonard, who's kind of the quiet superstar. I mean, he started to get a bigger name, but he's the whole package. Like, he can score, and he doesn't do it flashy. Like, you don't see him making Sports Center top plays, but he will straight up shut you down on defense too.
All around, easily probably the best, one of, if not the best defender in the league.
Yeah, I would say he's definitely in the top
numerous
top 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Easily. Just a complete player who doesn't get as much credit as he probably deserves. So here, I'll tell the name. You can elaborate a little bit. Number 6 for us. Theirs was Chris Paul. We'll get to Chris Paul later in ours. Number 6 for us was Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis, I mean, that's an easy one. He's one of the only guys that's doing anything for New Orleans. I mean, he's been carrying this team on his back, and he's getting better and better and better every single year. This dude has no limit right now. will, in my opinion, going to go down as one of the best later in his career. It's a bold statement, but it'll happen.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, to be as big as he is, back when the big story was, when Kentucky recruited him, he was a point guard.
Yeah.
And from the time his senior year to his freshman year of college, he grew like 8 inches.
Yeah, and ended up playing
center.
Yeah, he played center, and while he was on the USA team, he played shooting guard at an international level.
So I think he's a freak. But now he's another one. He's solid. Defense, offense. Problem is he's stuck in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Just all there is to it. Number 7 for us is Draymond Green.
Now, Pablo is not a fan of Draymond Green.
Do not like him.
But he agreed with this pick because Draymond is the hype machine for Golden State. Without him, they do not win as much. You say what you want about Steph Curry, say what you want about Klay Thompson occasionally. Draymond Green is the driving force behind that team. Easily. Number 7 for me.
He's an ass. Anyway, moving on. Number 8 for us. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you theirs because guess what? Theirs is wrong. Ours is right. Damn it. So, number 8 for us is the beard, man. James Harden.
James Harden got points alone on this system just because he has a great beard. But
that did move him up a few spots.
Yeah, dude's a killer. Probably, well, not even probably. Best Euro step in the league. Dude can drive like no other guard whatsoever. And, probably some shaky defense most of the time, but just as a scorer and someone that can take over games, I think, we had to put him there.
Okay, number 9 for us, guy who, he's crazy. He's like the new, better version of Rasheed Wallace is what he is. Because he gets at least a technical a game, I feel like. But he's a guy who I wasn't necessarily thinking would be that good, DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah, and, another Kentucky boy, of course. For me, that's always going to be high picks, but I mean the dude's doing so much for San Francisco right now because Sacramento, sorry. He
that's how shitty it is.
Yeah,
that's another one. He's so good, but he's stuck in Sacramento.
Yeah, I mean you got these really good bigs that are stuck somewhere, but he's been doing well. He's been dropping doubles a lot recently, and really kind of carrying that team right now. I mean,
look, they're bad. Yeah. They're just bad. But you can't deny what Cousins is doing.
Yeah, and the fact that he's stat padding that way in the West. I mean, that's
this
already.
Is not the East. It's, in the West, and he's still putting up the numbers. I would really love to see him get out of Sacramento.
Agreed.
And I think once his contract's up, there's no way
he's not staying. He's gone.
So, number 10, finishing out the top 10 for us, we went with Paul George.
Paul George is a weird one. Like, Paul George was really good before, and of course he has the horrific injury, and he's been kind of coming back, and still that's cringeworthy. But I mean he's been doing really well, back to his old ways. Better shooter than he was before, which is kind of hard to believe.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with him. It's kind of like the Kawhi Leonard. He's a great all around player. He's a really good defender, even better shooter now. Maybe doesn't have quite the step he had before, which who's going to after coming back from an injury. If you haven't seen that and you got a strong stomach, you go look it up. If you don't have a strong stomach, do not under any circumstance go look at that shit.
Yeah, it was gruesome.
So number 11 for us, John Wall.
Again, another Kentucky boy. Probably the best slashing guard in the league. I mean, really and truly, now that DeRozan is kind of out of it, and people like that, but just a really, really strong player. Still working on his shot outside, slowly getting there. He's helped Washington compete when really and truly they probably shouldn't have been a competitor. So he's been doing his thing.
Yeah, he kind of surprised me. I didn't know that he'd be that good.
Yeah.
But his game transitioned better than I thought it would.
Yeah.
Number 12 for us, Chris Paul.
I still think Chris Paul is a bit overrated. I mean, the Clippers haven't done anything. Doesn't look like they're going to do anything. But Chris Paul, easily one of the best ball handlers. Really, really smart player overall. I mean, great passes, great everything. He's the good general you need on the court.
Yeah, he also has great commercials.
He does.
He probably got a few votes on our list because of the commercials.
Yeah, easily.
Him and Cliff Paul. It's amazing how much they look alike. It's like they're twins almost. Practically the same guy.
Practically.
Number 13, another under-the-radar guy who I love, and he's stuck in Detroit, Andre Drummond.
Andre Drummond is a monster. This dude averages like a double-double. He averages like 16, 17 rebounds a game. Like, he's ridiculous, but he's stuck.
Yeah, same deal. Look, if anybody could ever get like Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins and Andre Drummond on a good team, it might be scary good how good they are.
Yeah.
Because right now, I mean, he's stuck in Detroit, and it's Detroit. The Pistons haven't been good for since I was in high school.
Yeah.
Number 14, another guy who's under the radar a little bit. I mean, they had a good season last year for the Hawks. Was Paul Millsap.
I mean, just a strong player, really good fundamental big man.
Yeah, he's not flashy. He kind of reminds you. He's a poor man's Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
That's about the best way to put it. Nothing flashy. He's just solid, does what he does, and that's it. You're not going to see him on the highlights every night. Number 15, and this is a different direction because you will see this guy on the highlights about every night that Toronto plays, and that is DeMar DeRozan.
I mean, this guy is quick as lightning and will jump out of the building every single time. I mean, he's developed a jump shot. Hasn't, not the smartest IQ as far as player-wise, but, I mean, he's a showstopper. He's going to, light a fire under a team and really get them going when they need it.
Number 16, I'm not huge on him, LaMarcus Aldridge.
Yeah, people probably going to be shocked that LaMarcus A is at 16, but, okay, let's face it, LaMarcus Aldridge is overrated. He's always been overrated. I mean, he's a good shooter. He does his thing. He's a big man. But he's not, one of these top guys. I've never thought that. I mean, he's a good big man, but, he works well in very specific systems. Yeah. He's not one of those players you can throw into any situation and he's going to work. And that's why he's so low on our list.
Yeah, and I think you can kind of tell that this year, he's trying to fit in with San Antonio down there now, and he still doesn't look comfortable. But, it's kind of wait and see. He's still a young guy. I think it will help him actually when maybe Duncan does decide to move on. But, he's at 16 for us. 17, which is a little lower than what they have him. They had him at like 10. Kyle Lowry.
Kyle Lowry's a good point guard, does his thing. I've got him on my fantasy team, and he's been doing well. But there's a lot better players that we felt like should have been higher. And, he dropped, what was it, 5 or 6 spots, something like that? 7
on theirs, I think. I think he was 10. He was 10 on there. No, he was 12 on theirs. He dropped 5 spots to 17 on ours.
So, I mean, not that much of a difference, but, there were better players.
I mean, these are the all-stars. It's not like it's that big of a snub if you drop down a little bit, but to me, I didn't think he was necessarily should have been 12. Number 18, and this is probably the one that was the biggest difference from ours to theirs. They had him at 23. We have him at 18. And, it's kind of father time resetting the clock a little bit this year because he's carrying them, but it's Dwyane Wade.
Dwyane Wade has been doing, great things this year, really unexpected things. I mean, this guy's old. And, he's obviously still got Bosh there, and he's got Whiteside there who's been doing great things. But D. Wade's been clutching up when he needs to. It looks like, we're turning back
he's found the fountain of youth this season, and I don't think they're going to win the Eastern Conference per se, but he's got them competing, for the top spot in the East, and you never know. Maybe he's got a little magic left in the knees. We'll see.
Yeah.
Number 19 for us is look, he's a great player, but he's just never going to win anything. Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah, I mean, great player. Terrible defense, always going to be a solid shooter, one of the best jump shots, if not the best jump shot in the game.
Oh, great scorer.
Mid-range can't be stopped, but he's stuck, and he's always been stuck, and he's doesn't look like he's ever going to get over the hump.
Yeah, and he's getting at the age. He's 31 now. He's no longer that spring chicken, and it's like a wet paper bag when you start talking about his defense.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens next season in New York because they're going to have some free agent money. And
there's some deals to be made there.
Yeah, that could be very interesting. So moving on real quick, number 20, Isaiah Thomas, not the old one.
The old one probably would have got higher.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. That always confuses the shit out of me. All right? I know Isaiah Thomas is the young guy now, but I still don't register.
Yeah. I mean, Isaiah Thomas is good, super small dudes, really scrappy, great player overall, but I mean, he's dwarfed by the big names, and that's how it's just going to be.
Yeah. Real good. Number 21 for us, and this is kind of probably going to be a surprise to some people, but I feel like he hit his stride a couple, like 2 years ago and even last year or something. I think he's took a step back, which is good for the team because I think the team got better, but for us, 21 is Klay Thompson.
Yeah, I mean, he had a good year last year, has had some good quarters this year. I think he leads the league in like single quarter scoring.
Right.
But, he's kind of taken a backseat to Draymond, and of course Steph stepped it up a lot, which is saying something. But yeah, he's there and he plays defense well and does his thing, but he's not the guy or even the second guy.
Yeah, I mean, we got 3 Warriors on the list and he's the third one, You're not going to get in the top half if there's already 2 of your guys in the top 10.
Yeah.
Number 22 for us is actually he's a replacement. Chris Bosh was in there. Obviously, Chris Bosh, great finesse, big man. Not really physical, but he's injured. He's not going to be able to play. So his replacement is Al Horford,
which is solid center. He's getting up there a little bit in age, and he's always kind of had problems and whatnot. And he's slow. But, I mean, he gets the job done. And, he's just going to be your typical big man. He's not going to do anything exceptional.
He's similar to the Tim Duncan type player. I mean, he's not flashy. He's not fast. He's got a mid-range jumper. And he's just he's going to get you at least 10 points every night and at least 10 rebounds. Number 23 is Paul Gasol.
That's probably going to make a lot of people mad. But, Paul's not been really doing much this year. I mean, he's there and he's doing his job, but he's not.
He's solid.
Yeah.
He's a solid guy it's kind of the same deal. He's going to get you 10, 15 points, and he's going to grab you,
And, of course, he's getting up there in age, too.
Yeah, oh, yeah. And he's another one. Big guy, good little touch on the ball.
Yeah.
Good team player. And he's on a team with a lot of guys who can score. Jimmy Butler, Derrick Rose, all those guys. Number 24 on our list, and it was theirs, too. And it's look, mad respect. You don't even have to like him because I'm not a huge Kobe fan. However, but mad respect and I know the fans voted him in, but the fact that the man is in the argument for greatest players and all this other stuff. But Kobe Bryant is 24 for us,
and Kobe's gonna go down. As one of the greatest players to ever play the game.
He may be the best scorer ever.
Might be, yeah. You're probably right about that. And this is one of those things that's, this is his farewell tour, and a lot of the reason he got in was because of that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was because of that.
But, Kobe's, he said it himself, having interviews. He goes, we just suck now. He goes, we can't do anything. And, as much as Kobe wants to still be the guy, he can't be anymore. And, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I mean, at some point you just have to, the same thing going back to what we talked about at the beginning with Peyton. And I hope Peyton gets that too. At some point, guys, these athletes, we think of them as superhuman, but at some point they hit that wall.
Yeah.
And you can tell it really bad now. And not, it's not that he's terrible. He's still better than a lot of guys in the league. But he's not Kobe.
No.
So, he was 24 for us. That was our list. You can make your own list.
Yeah, and we'll have our list compared to the other list up on the screen for you, or we'll put it in the comments or something. But if you guys have any changes or make your own list, hit us up, talk to us about it.
Tell us we're idiots. It's okay, because we'll tell you kiss our ass back.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on from the All-Star game itself. Probably the most fun thing I think about the All-Star game, or at least it used to be. It's still okay, but it's not
as much as it used to be.
Not like it used to be. Is the dunk contest. And, dunk contest used to be the biggest thing ever because, you had Dominique Wilkins, you had Michael Jordan.
Yeah, Vince Carter.
The Vince Carter who, look, all you Jordan suck-up people, I'm not taking anything away from Jordan the player. But when it comes to dunk contest, Vince Carter is the best dunker in the history of the NBA.
And no one will ever touch that.
Not happening. I don't care what anybody else does. Unless LeBron does a slam dunk contest, in which case I'd love to see what LeBron would do.
That'd probably be interesting. He'd probably do some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, from the fact that they say during practice he can touch the top and take a quarter off the top.
Yeah.
Which I know people said had been done before, but I want to see it.
Yeah.
I know Dwight Howard, he was actually pretty good dunk contest for a big man.
Yeah, he dunked on a 12-foot goal.
Yeah, he dunked on a 12-foot goal. It's impressive. And he jumped over cars and people and But it doesn't have the same luster. Back when the little big man, Spud Webb, back in like the 80s, he won it. And, that was a huge, huge deal. But used to, everybody was in it. Now you don't really have a lot of big names in it. We'll go over who's in it this year.
We got Zach LaVine.
Who won it last year. Good dunker. Very athletic guy. But the fact that you're probably going to have to go and look up and see who Zach LaVine is.
Yeah.
He's not related to Adam Levine. I promise you. Two different guys, okay? Not even closely related.
No, and then you got Andre Drummond, who's a big man, and we were talking about this before we started this. It's probably going to be, it could be iffy.
He might can still look. He throws down hard. The problem is most of the time, like you got to do something like what Dwight Howard did. If you're a big guy, because it's not impressive that a 6'11" guy can dunk.
Yeah, I mean you got to show someone how high you can jump or something.
He's got to pull something special off. But Andre Drummond, a little underrated, probably coming into this. I could see him throwing up something big.
I think Aaron Gordon's going to be a surprise. That's number 3.
You're big on Aaron Gordon.
I remember watching the Ball is Life mixtapes when this guy was in high school and seeing some of his dunks, and I really think he's going to surprise some people. He's kind of a bigger guy, but he might show out a little bit. I'm kind of hoping he does. It's probably going to be my pick. Him or Zach LaVine are winning it.
I'm telling you though, this is my dark horse right here. Will Barton, like you got to see like his highlights from this year. This guy can jump out of the gym, and I think he's the underdog. Everybody's gonna look. Zach LaVine's the champion before. Drummond's the big name. Even Gordon, everybody kind of knows him from coming out of college. Will Barton, I'm telling you, watch it. I think Will Barton upsets everybody. Will Barton will win the NBA Slam Dunk Contest.
That's a bold move, Cotton.
Nah, you like that? Let's see how that works out for him. Most of the time you pay double for that.
Yeah, but Slam Dunk Contest, give us your picks. Try to shake it up a little bit. Obviously, Pablo's trying to do that.
Yeah, I'll give you this. But by next week, if you want to listen to this and talk about the dunk contest, 4 people, give me the greatest dunk contest you could ever have. Which 4 NBA players ever can make the greatest dunk contest?
I like it.
You give us yours next week. We'll give you ours. Hit us up during the week. So with that, I think we're kind of closing in.
Yeah.
You've probably listened to us if you listen this long. All right. You're a fan.
Yeah, you're probably a fan at this point. Yeah. And if you guys have any questions or you hear something in the sports world that you want us to talk about, make sure to tweet us or message us on Facebook or hit us up on YouTube in the comments. Whatever you do, just make sure you get out here to us and let us know what you want to hear.
Yeah, we'll even look. You want to hear something? Look, if you want to come on and be on with us, we'll interview you. Hint, hint. Any wrestler, any sports people, we'll take you.
Yeah.
All right? We will interview you, and we will ask the questions everyone wants to know.
Yeah, like what kind of toilet paper do you use? Because if it's that cheap stuff, you probably just need to reevaluate everything you're doing.
Yeah, look, I'm an Angel Soft man myself, but...
I'm a Quilted Northern man.
Look, the point is, nobody uses a sandpaper.
Yeah.
So, hit us up with all that stuff. Check out me and Justin, Twitter, Facebook. Like this video, share this video, help us out, please. We got a name of the show now. Also, throwing it out there because we're a couple weeks away, but just to give you a heads up. On March the 5th, we will be at the Tri-Cities Toy and Hobby Show at the Gray Fairgrounds, and like the first building when you go in the little section there. I have a table set up. I've actually done this for this will be my 3rd year. Justin's gonna go help me out this year. Basically anything from usually comics, action figures, sports stuff, memorabilia, autograph stuff. We got some cool stuff this year. Like normally I just had mostly sports stuff.
I mean, you guys don't even know. I've seen it firsthand. The stuff that we've got this year is ridiculous.
It is sick. I'm telling you. If you're a horror movie fan, I got some stuff for you. Action figures, other stuff, autographs, sports people, hit me up. I've got some autographed stuff, pictures, cards, you name it. Anyway, helps Children's Miracle Network. So you're helping out a fundraiser too. So we'll keep reminding you of this every week. I think it's like $5 to get in. And like I said, I don't care what you like, Star Wars, wrestling, anything and everything will be at that show, and help out a good cause anyway. So remember that. We'll remind you every week. March the 5th, Tri-Cities Toys and Hobby Show in Gray, Tennessee. And with that, I guess we're out of here.
Yeah, I guess that wraps it up. Make sure, again, like and share the video. And, yeah.
You got anything, Chris? All right, good talk.
Good talk, Chris.
See y'all.
See y'all.